But oh well. Can't survive all the films. Now I wonder if this was it. I wonder if stethoscopes were around at this time because he's listening for his heart instead of using a stethoscope. Mm. This is how monsters kill people in their films. They just choke them. They don't slice them up. They don't stab them. They just choke them. So I love how silent it is. Like it's not overusing the sound. And this is 1931, so back then sound effects were being kind of overused in a way. And I just liked how like these films they kept it. Um, they kept the talking at very few. They kept the sounds down a little bit. Here's like one of the few tender moments of the film. Probably just another scene to add to the character development of these two. And this is kind of a precursor to how Henry's character is throughout the second film, especially the first half of the second film, where he's basically in bed most of the time. They just a pointless kind of scene, really, but I guess it adds. Yeah, well, his youngster definitely will be carrying on the tradition. Little spoiler there. More wine. Yes, let's put more wine in the scene with an alcoholic. Yay. Very smart. Oh, look at that. That's such a beautiful room right there. I wonder how much it would cost to decorate a room like that. This is what we'll see a lot in these films, is a lot of like dancing on the outside. We don't get that anymore. Like we don't have like towns where they dance on it, like every so often, or but I think they're supposed to be gypsies too. I'm not sure. I know in Wolfman and Frankenstein Meets the Wolfman, those are called gypsies, but I don't know if that's what they are here. Now, the town, I forgot to mention, the town's called Holstaff, I believe it is. And it's changed to Frankenstein later on. I'm not sure why, because the town winds up hating Henry and his family name because of the terror that the monster brings to everybody. So I'm not sure why they would go ahead and rename the town Frankenstein, but oh well. here we're coming up to one of the moments. It's like kind of sad moment, you know. We have Michael Mark there as Ludwig, the father. He does come back in the second film, I believe, or the third film. I know he plays in the third film as one of the people that hung Igor, as a different character. And then we have Marilyn Harris there as Little Marie. Little Marie, you know, kind of sad, the scene, but I was watching a documentary and it said that James Whale asked her to, you know, to let what happens, and, you know, she'd get whatever she wanted, and she got like 24 hard-boiled eggs for doing it even better than he asked for. And she actually loved the monster from what I've heard. She went up and rode with him and spent time with him, and, you know, instead of her own family. This is just I guess it's just an example of how innocent children are. You know, they don't see color, they don't see race, they don't see deformities. They just see a person.
Would you like one of my flowers?
Just a tender scene, which is parodied in the most hilarious way in Young Frankenstein. Definitely go see that film. You know, if you haven't. It makes fun of mostly these films, but I think there is a couple of references to the Hammer series, but mainly from this series of films.
You have those, and I'll have these. I can make a boat. See how mine floats?
Yeah, this is just a nice moment. And just like a child, he doesn't know what to do. He ran out of flowers. And he's curious. Will she float? Now, this was cut out. He picks her up, and then it cuts. You know, and it goes to the people in the square dancing and everything else. That was cut mainly, I think, due to Boris Karloff. Ooh, excuse me, I actually said it. This was due to the monster, you know, the guy who played the monster, not wanting to let it happen, not wanting it to be shown. But it was later reinstated in 1986, because, you know, it is an effective scene, because it shows the tragedy that the monster must go through now. Okay, I did kind of mess it up. The guy who plays the monster is Boris Karloff. I'm sure many of you know this already. He would go on to play the monster in the first 3 films, which is this one, Bride of Frankenstein and Son of Frankenstein. And he would later play in House of Dracula, I believe, as a mad scientist, and Frankenstein 1970, which has nothing to do with this series, as another mad scientist. This right here starts the kind of predictions that Elizabeth seems to have. I don't understand it. It's never explained how it is she keeps seeing all this tragedy, and they're actually so eerily accurate. Like, it's especially more in the second film. She sees it a lot more.
No, forget my foolishness. It was just a mood. There's nothing the matter.
Of course there is.
Maybe it's just women intuition. I heard it could be eerie accurate sometimes.
Where's Dr. Waldman? Why is he late for the wedding?
Oh, he's always late. He'll be here soon.
Something is going to happen. I feel it. I can't get it out of my mind.
You're just nervous. All the excitement and preparation.
No,
Yeah, I still don't understand how it is she knows all this.
I felt it all day.
Is she like a prophet?
Between us. I
I mean, it's never explained. Is she a gypsy? I mean, that could be explained why. Like, I think gypsies are kind of like medieval witches or something, or ancient witches.
I don't know. I can just get it out of my mind. I'd die if I had to lose you now, Henry.
Lose me. I'll always be with you.
Will you, Henry? Are you sure?
The book by Mary Shelley, her fate is it's definitely not pretty, because what happens is when Dr. Frankenstein rejects the monster asks for his help in understanding the world, and he kind of rejects him, saying, "Oh no, this is my life, I don't need you no more, and you're a mistake." Basically, the father rejecting the son, he decides to go and take everybody that matters to him away, so he can go ahead and, like, basically all he has left is the monster, and he wants to have a final showdown with him. The book was written in 1818, or released in 1818. I haven't really read the whole book yet. I do still need to read it. I just know little bits about what happens, and of course I saw the Robert De Niro film, Mary Shelley's Frankenstein, and then the Hammer series, which those are more true to the novel itself as opposed to these films. Now, have you ever watched the short film Boo? It's somewhat funny. They do kind of make a mock on this right here. The short film is actually on this set on the side 2 of this too, where House of Frankenstein is put. And it's got, cuts of, I think, Family Opera and Nosferatu and this movie. Now, how is it that he knows that this is Elizabeth's house? Like, this is where Henry and Elizabeth are? I mean, is he just going in there to attack her? And, it's kind of a coincidence that he would, out of all the houses he would go to, he would pick the house where Elizabeth and Henry are. I remember this was actually the cover of one of the VHS box sets, or one of the VHS videotapes back in the 80s, when she's like draped over the bed the way she was. Yeah, here we have Ludwig carrying his dead daughter. And she does it really well. Like, that would hurt the hell out of me to have to let my head sway like that. And my arms, like is there a better way to make her comfortable while acting dead? Oh well. Basically, it's a long way. Like, basically, we're feeling the anguish that right now he's feeling, because it's like it's taken so long for him to get to where he's got to go, and all you see is this little girl dead, and it's kind of like, okay, when is this scene gonna end? Basically, when when is justice gonna be found for my daughter, type of thing. But like I said in the beginning of the film, this film is very much about death as opposed to life, which is what the monster was meant to be, was life. Now, how does he know that she's been murdered? That was a question I was put onto the documentary that's on here, the Frankenstein Files. But not a big deal. Now, this is what I meant earlier by, like, the Burgomaster's not much of a character. Like, he starts the whole let's go get the monster thing, or let's get the killer, because at this moment they don't know it's a monster. They just know it's somebody's out there killing. And he's not a huge character.